It's time for the Live Life Loved podcast with internationally renowned author and speaker, Dr. Nicole Berryhill. Her message of good news, practical hope, and assured victory is a thirst-quenching relief in today's culture. You do not have to live your life in fear. You can truly and confidently live life loved. And now I give you Dr. Nicole Berryhill, our host of the Live Life Loved podcast.
Thank you, Nate, and welcome everyone to this week's show. I'm so glad you're here. Our response to the show so far has been amazing. So thank you for spending this time with me every week, and thank you so much for supporting our sponsors. They're so important to the success and longevity of our work here. So again, thank you so much for supporting us through your partner purchases. We started this series discussing what love is, and then last week we talked about one of the big hurdles we have to overcome to experience love, and that is forgiveness, which can be so difficult but necessary for ourselves and others. This week we're going to continue the How to Love series by talking about another hurdle to experiencing unconditional love, and that is self-care. Our word for the week is Seautou, Seautou, which is the Greek word most commonly translated in the New Testament as of or to yourself. Probably the most popularly recognized passage containing this word is Matthew 19:19, which says, "Honor your father and mother and love your neighbor as yourself." This is interesting to us this week, of course, because the passage insinuates that there's a given level of self-love that the passage is referring to. We're supposed to love and care for ourselves. We're supposed to forgive ourselves, invest in ourselves, and be the best, most centered and at peace person we can be. It just improves absolutely everything in our lives. In a time of push, and in such an accomplishment-driven culture, the idea of self-love is often foreign to us. I know as a mom of 4 daughters, I spent a lot of my life feeling guilty for investing any time at all in myself. I spent 20 years putting my children, my education, and my career first, and only now that they're nearly grown do I realize what a mistake that was. I spent years just flat burned out and exhausted, and frankly, my health suffered for it. Thankfully, in recent years, I've realized that was an unhealthy way to see things, and frankly, an unhealthy way to model womanhood for my girls. I realized that I was so burned out because you just can't give away what you don't have, right? I've been making positive changes in my life for the last couple of years that are really bearing fruit, and the joy of my life right now is seeing them invest in themselves too as a result. Often it's hard to see the benefit of carving out time for self-care until it's too late and you feel burned out. For a lot of overworked and overcommitted people, it can sometimes feel like a waste of time or a distraction from what they feel is, quote, important. Maybe activities that pay the bills or, things that feel more pressing. But what if I tell you it's much better than we were led to believe?
It's listener question time on Live Life Loved podcast with Dr. Nicole Berryhill. Let's see what we have today.
This week our question comes from Janet in South Carolina, who asks, "It seems I can never carve out time for myself. I can't seem to say no when friends or family ask me for help or to attend social events. I end up feeling washed out and exhausted most of the time. I just push through activities with a smile on my face, but I feel dead inside, and I just want to go home and rest. What can I do to make room to do things just for myself?" Well, Janet, first of all, you live in a beautiful state. I visited South Carolina recently, and it was just lovely. The area I visited had an abundance of outdoor activities and quiet areas in nature to just spend some time recharging your batteries. If that's the kind of thing that brings you peace and refreshment, I highly recommend getting out by yourself and soaking up some of that South Carolina fresh air and sunshine, girl. I'm going to answer your question, however, by telling you a story about one of my recent clients. Myrna is 38 and a successful pediatrician. She sought my help because she often felt inadequate. While she really valued herself as a doctor, She did not value herself in her important relationships with friends and family. In addition, she said she wanted to be in a loving relationship, but she took no actions to meet available men. In the course of our work together, it became apparent that Myrna rarely took loving action on her own behalf with her friends and family. For example, Jessica, one of Myrna's friends, would often get angry and blame Myrna when Myrna was not available for dinner with Jessica. Myrna would feel guilty and responsible for Jessica's feelings and meet her for dinner even though she was completely exhausted from work. Myrna would feel drained after these dinners and depressed for days, never realizing it was because she had not taken loving care of herself. Myrna realized that the reason she was afraid to be in a relationship was because she had no idea how to take care of herself around others. She was terrified of completely losing herself in an important relationship. She realized that if she couldn't speak up for herself with Jessica, how would she ever speak up and take loving action for herself with a man she was in love with? She realized that she would continue to feel lonely, anxious, inadequate, and depressed until she learned to take loving action for herself. Many people suffer daily from anxiety, depression, stress, and anger, as well as feelings of guilt, shame, or inadequacy. The major cause of these feelings is a lack of loving action on their own behalf, otherwise known as self-care. Loving actions fall into two categories: loving actions for yourself and loving actions in relationship to others. So, loving actions for yourself are those actions that attend to your own needs. When you take loving action on your own behalf, you're letting yourself know that you matter, that you're important, and you count. When you fail to take loving action on your own behalf, you give yourself the message that you're not important, which leads to feelings of depression and inadequacy. Loving actions for yourself might include things like eating nutritious food, avoiding junk food and sugar, eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full, getting enough exercise, getting out for a walk, treating yourself to a therapeutic massage to release skeletal-muscular tension and improve circulation. Spend some time relaxing in a hot tub or a jacuzzi bathtub, which is actually my personal go-to for self-care time. Keeping your work and home environments clean and organized, getting enough sleep, creating a balance between work and play, making sure you have time to get your work done as well as time to do nothing, reflect, learn, play, create. Creating a good support system of people who love and genuinely care about you. Being organized with your time, getting places on time, paying bills on time, and so on. That gives you a sense of accomplishment and value. Choosing to be compassionate with yourself rather than judgmental towards yourself. That can be difficult for some people. Creating balance between time for yourself and time with others. And making sure you're physically safe by wearing a seatbelt in a car, helmet on a motorcycle, scooter or bike, goggles when necessary, and so on. Loving actions in relationships to others might include being kind and compassionate towards others without compromising your own integrity or ignoring your own needs and feelings. Saying no when you mean no and yes when you mean yes, rather than giving yourself up and going along with something you don't want to do, or automatically resisting what another wants from you. Taking care of your own needs instead of trying to change and control others. Accepting your lack of control over others, or either accepting them as they are or not being around them. Speaking your truth about what's acceptable to you and what is unacceptable, and then taking action for yourself based on your personal truth. Taking responsibility for your own feelings and needs instead of being a victim and making others responsible for your feelings and needs. That's a big one. Creating a balance between giving and receiving, rather than a one-way street with another person. As a result of learning to take better care of herself alone and with others, Myrna no longer felt depressed and inadequate. She gradually lost her fears of being in a relationship and is delighted to be meeting available men. I teach a method of self-care that focuses on what I call the 4 major quadrants of your health and well-being. And they are body, mind, soul or spirituality, and nest, and that's your environment. Keeping all 4 quadrants in check and well attended to can help drastically improve your self-care habits and thereby release you to be a better giver and receiver of unconditional love. Well, that's it for this week. I appreciate you joining me, and I hope you use some of this week's information to start implementing self-care on a regular basis because you are worth the effort. I have a free gift for you this week that will help you explore and understand self-care and how it can positively impact every area of your life. You can download it right now by completing the Keep Me Posted form at NicoleBerryhill.com. Head over there right now and get your free gift at NicoleBerryhill.com. So until then, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of His hand.
Thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to the Live Life Loved podcast with Dr. Nicole Berryhill. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share over your social media to help spread the love. Be sure to sign up for the free Live Life Loved newsletter today at NicoleBerryhill.com for bonus weekly content to help you live your life loved.